Coming up now is another sparkling Two Mics podcast.
This is TalkSport Extra Time, and of course, we've got masses and masses to talk about this morning. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry, and welcome to the very first of many nightly appearances here on Extra Time. This night, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, it's all happening.
Yeah, you'll be getting sick of seeing me, Mike, in the studio, because obviously when I'm here, people compare the sort of, the quality of delivery.
Yes, of course.
You know what I mean?
I know, yeah.
So, it might not all be good news for you, my boy, but no.
Well, you know that story of when you go out with somebody, it's always better to go out with somebody uglier. So that, they could get the ugly girl
Absolutely.
and you could actually do better. So by comparison, I'm more than happy to be hanging around with you.
Oh, that's very kind of you, thank you. Because a professional footballer told me once, sometimes you play your best football when you're not on the pitch.
Yes.
So what he means is...
That's certainly true of Everton, isn't it?
Well, what he means is your absence is noted more than your presence, if you see what I mean.
That's true.
Come back.
Yeah, that is
so
true.
My absence from the studio for some of the hours of your show is not good news for you necessarily, But
now,
no, all jokes aside, just before you start,
right.
I am delighted to be at the start of what's going to be a rolling fiesta of Two Mic shows, 4 nights a week ad infinitum.
Yes, exactly. Now, we're going to be talking about Deirdre from Corrie a little bit later on, but I just want to say how sorry we all are for hearing the news last night. You're a massive Coronation Street fan, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But first of all, I want to talk to you about Everton, because last night, 0-0 draw, absolutely awful game, peaked by, I can only say, the excitement at half-time when Sylvester Stallone decides to film his new movie there.
I know, it's unbelievable.
I mean, what's happening? I mean, have they turned the place into a sort of showbiz palace or something?
No. The Stallone connection's been going on for 2 or 3 years now. I mean, old Robert, what's his name, who owns Hard Rock Cafe chain, is an investor in Everton, and he's Stallone's big mate.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah. And, obviously, with all the Hollywood connections and all that kind of stuff, So it's not the first time Stallone's posed with an Everton scarf and all that kind of stuff. So that's fine. But, of course, on the pitch was the problem. And, I mean, there's a load of panic merchants now going on about Sam Martinez back to wing and all that. Hang on, I think we've all forgotten that when David Moyes, who, was a consistently good manager for us over 11 years, in his second season, he had about a second season-itis.
Yeah.
And I think we finished 17th. I mean, we finished way down. And Roberto Martinez inherited a team last season. He's had to start reshaping it this season. We're bound to be teething problems. And I'm sure he'll get it right next season. No question.
Well, it's all very well saying you get it right next season, but you're only, 4 points above the relegation zone. And lots of people will say, and will continue to say, Everton are too good to go down. But you know how that goes sometimes. And there's a lot of teams who are too good to go down, and they still go down.
It's an old cliche, that one, about too good to go down. Normally speaking, the 3 worst teams in the Premier League go down. And Everton are not one of the 3 worst teams in the Premier League. I mean, look, there were terrible negatives tonight. And the Morales thing, I don't know. Somebody said, the reason he didn't come out in the second half is somebody bashed him in the face and he got a broken nose from one of the other players.
Is that one of the stories?
Scurrilous rumour.
Oh, yeah.
Scurrilous rumour.
I mean, to be fair, it is to say he's injured is okay as a cover story, because he has had problems with his hamstring.
Yes, he has. But I saw a shot at the end, which everybody must have seen, of him coming out of Goodison and signing a load of autographs. The fans weren't even catcalling him. But what is most interesting is what Gary Neville said.
Yeah.
He said that if he sort of balked authority and decided to take it himself, he said it's despicable breach of team spirit.
Yeah.
That one of the worst you can possibly have. It's a scandal. That's what Gary Neville says. What I don't quite understand, and this will need to be explained next time Mr. Martinez sits down with the gentlemen of the press, scribes like you and I, is why there was ever any debate about Morales taking it anyway. Yeah. I mean, 15 out of 16 have been scored by Leighton Baines. Yeah. He's so consistent, so reliable. Why would you let somebody else take it anyway? And by the way...
Well, did you notice that interplay as well between Leighton Baines and Morales?
Well, he seemed to be encouraging him and
saying...
Well,
I don't think he was, because he hit him twice. The first one was quite hard. The second one was harder. I think he was basically saying... You're a complete plonker for doing this.
I didn't read it that way at the time. At the time, I didn't read it that way. I read it as, go on then, go on, have a go.
Well, he hits him quite hard. I mean, if I hit you that hard, you wouldn't like it.
I thought he was patting him and saying, put it away, go on, and all that. I could tell he was going to miss it from the moment he stood across the ball.
Really?
When you take a penalty, if you only take a 3-pace run-up and hit a penalty, you're going to miss.
You took one at Shrewsbury, didn't you?
No, I took one at Old Trafford.
No, you took one at Shrewsbury more recently. The one that you took in the last season.
No, Stevenage.
Stevenage,
yeah. Yeah, I scored, of course.
Did you?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I didn't think you did.
No, I did,
you put it over the bar, didn't you?
No.
There is footage of it.
It had to go through a hole in the middle of a canvas.
Oh, that's right, it missed, didn't it?
No, it didn't miss.
Well, you put it in the hole, did you?
Well, no, but I got it within the area around the hole that was designated a hit.
You missed the hole, then?
No. I mean,
Morales hit the post.
Completed the task. Right. I completed the task very successfully.
Did you?
And raised money for charity. But getting back to the Everton situation, Of course, it was an absolute hammer blow to miss that penalty because we'd have then got the 3 points. I didn't realise we only won one game out of the last 13.
Yeah.
I mean, that is shocking.
That's not good,
it's not good. But
and you also missed 2 out of 4 penalties this season. That's the second one you missed.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And so I don't know why he didn't take it. We'll have to rely on Mr. Martinez to tell us that, and maybe even Kevin
Well, he's not going to
himself.
change the story now, is he? He's not going to suddenly come out tomorrow and say, actually, when I said he was injured, that's why I pulled him out of the game.
No. I want to know why he was allowed to, because the suggestion is, from some quarters, is that if the players can decide amongst themselves who's taking the penalty on the pitch, then Martinez has lost the dressing room already,
right.
And he's not able to impose his discipline on the squad. You'd never see Sir Alex Ferguson stand on the touchline while the players debated who would take a penalty.
No.
So I need to know what is behind that. But more worrying to me than anything is what I think is dramatic loss of form of Ross Barkley.
Yeah.
Because... do
you think he's trying to play his way out of the club?
Of course he's not. But
why not?
But last night...
Why wouldn't he? Well, that's not beyond the realms of possibility.
No. Last night, a number of times...
Well, don't just dismiss it out of hand.
No, I'm sorry, I'm dismissing it. It's rubbish.
It out of hand.
No, it's rubbish. You see, the guy who looked more like Ross Barkley last night was John Stones. I thought John Stones had a marvellous game. I thought he was man of the match. Every time he picked up the ball, halfway in our own half, he would gallop forward like a gazelle with very long legs.
Gazelles don't gallop.
Well, you know what I mean. So, sort of
If
thing.
anything, they canter, surely.
It was like a giraffe, actually, because giraffes
They don't gallop either.
They do. Have you never seen a giraffe gallop?
No.
Tell you what, mate, if you were being chased by a giraffe, you wouldn't get away. You would not get away.
Have you been chased by a giraph?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
Yes, I was, in the Kruger
That
National
must have
Park.
been a funny
in
scene.
the Kruger National Park in South Africa.
Was it accompanied by Benny Hill music?
Why do you ask stupid questions like that?
Because I could just see
We're
the
trying to have
scene.
a serious conversation. Why are you asking stupid questions like that?
Well, because the idea of you being chased by a giraffe, did it catch you then? Don't tell me you got away.
Well, I tell you something. It was a close done thing. I rushed into a clump of trees.
Did you?
And the giraffe couldn't get through.
Oh, right.
So that's how I saved myself. Do you know what? If you got chased by a hippopotamus, you'd get done. You'd get eaten. Hippopotami can run at up to 40 miles an hour.
You said they could swim.
They can't swim.
No, they can't.
They can. They swim.
No, they stand with their feet on the base of the riverbed.
Hippopotami can swim. I'll tell you how
They
good.
can't swim.
I'll tell you how good they are at swimming. They're subaquas. They swim underwater.
Do they?
Yeah, hippopotami. Yeah. They do.
Really?
Yeah, they do. They do.
They don't swim.
They do.
We've had this conversation
they do.
before.
They do.
And they move very slowly on the land as well.
No, they don't. No, they can really get up to speed. But anyway, we're not talking about hippopotami or zebras or giraffes or anything like that. We're talking about Ross Barkley. I just couldn't get it. Last night all he seemed to be doing was tippy-tappy and balls
everyone
left and
was
right.
saying rather unkindly, I thought, comparing him, badly with Ray Wilkins, saying all he does is pass sideways. I thought it was a bit of a slur on Ray Wilkins.
I made the point about John Stones galloping forward all the time. That's where the word galloping entered into the conversation, which you then challenged, with some unknown reason.
Well, because you said it was like a gazelle.
Probably because of your lack of command of the English language. And I wanted to see Ross Barkley doing a bit of that, but a bit more of it. I mean, what John Stones was doing was instantly moving play a third of up the field, 1/3 of the field. He was galloping past.
Well, the biggest criticism, it seems, of Roberto Martinez is he's got too many players playing at the back. He's got 5 at the back, hasn't he? And he wants them all to play out of defence.
No.
He wants them all to play out of defence.
Well, look,
but I mean, they're not playing very good football.
Most managers have 4 defenders and a holding midfielder, don't they? That's what most of them do. But I just, it is frustrating, honestly, being an Evertonian at the moment, particularly going out of the FA Cup and all that kind of stuff. But talk of
I should describe how you're
nonsense.
now, rubbing your head with your hands, which is always a sign of great exasperation, which I can see in your eyes.
It is exasperating. It is exasperating. The one thing that I don't agree with, and I never will, is the booing at the end, because you don't boo your Everton.
Well, we had an Everton fan on who says that they're fighting amongst themselves, the fans, they're arguing with each other.
Well, you could see that from the crowd
and
shots.
It's a toxic atmosphere.
It was a Sky production, and you could see, some close-ups of the crowd.
But it's a toxic atmosphere, that's not good for any
agitated.
club.
Well, people care about their football club, don't they? And when things go wrong, they do get somewhat toxic.
But that's not helpful, though.
It's not helpful at all, I totally agree.
And they're going to play Liverpool soon as well, aren't they?
They're going to what?
They're going to play Liverpool soon.
Game after next. You and I go into the next game. Everton don't play this weekend because we're unfortunately out of the 4th round of the FA Cup.
Have a bit of a rest. That might be good.
But the following weekend they're playing at Palace.
Yeah,
you and I going.
We're going to that, aren't we?
Guests of Mr. Powelson and then after that's Liverpool. Yeah. So
well, last year at Crystal Palace was 0-0. I seem to remember.
Yes, that's right. It was. Yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
It was 0-0. Yeah.
Do you mean last year or last time we went?
Last time we went last year.
Oh, it was last year, wasn't it?
It was
right.
last
Of course it was, yes, it was 0-0. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It wasn't a very entertaining game.
Doesn't matter, it was a great occasion. And all fixtures now are critical, difficult fixtures. I knew, do you know what? It's a terrible thing to say. I'm pretty relieved, really, that Everton got at least a draw, to be honest, at one point, because they're in that sort of they're in that sort of depression at the moment where anything can go wrong. And, whenever West Brom broke, they look dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, they look like they might do something. But Everton had 80% of the play throughout the night. 80%.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Now, coming up, we're going to talk about something that's very dear to your heart. That is the Coronation Street story.
We must.
Coronation Street's Deirdre dies at 60. It's on the front page.
Literally shocking.
Every single newspaper. Some great pictures as well. You forget just how kind of
how long she's been there.
Long she was at the very hub of everything that happened on Coronation Street. We'll look at all of her different storylines.
Yeah.
She died sadly, and Kirkbride yesterday at the age of 60. Very, very young to be not any longer with us, but we're all very sorry to hear about it. We'll be talking more about that coming up next. This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. Mike Parry's here with us every single night of the week now, and we're all very happy to be
I'm very happy
to announce that. I'm very happy.
I think the audience are very happy.
I think they are. Yeah, I'm very happy as well.
Are you happy?
I'm delighted.
As long as you're happy, I'm happy.
I couldn't be happier.
Okay,
but we've got some very sad
news. Happy. Yeah, we've got some very sad news.
We have got some very sad news to impart, and that is, of course, that Deirdre from Coronation Street, one of the probably most iconic characters of the whole soap, described in one newspaper this morning, the Daily Mail, as one of the nation's best-loved and longest-serving soap stars. Died yesterday after a short illness at the age of 60. And there's some amazing pictures, as we were saying earlier, of all of the different storylines that she was involved in. Getting married once, getting married twice, having an affair with Mike Baldwin, being put in prison for fraud in the 90s. Absolutely extraordinary storyline. You've always been a massive Coronation Street fan.
Absolutely.
And it's very sad because she was meant to be coming back, I believe, in the next few weeks, wasn't she?
Well, we don't know any facts yet. Yeah. It's a sudden short illness and she's died. There is speculation and rumour, around that she had an illness which she'd kept very quiet and that, she hasn't been there for the last month or so. Right. But your instincts tell you, Mike, in the business we're in, when somebody goes off like that, so she's exhausted, and it is a very exhausting schedule, by the way, Coronation Street. They sometimes work like 14 hours a day. Yeah. They work 6 days a week because there's so many episodes of it now. And people do, often take blocks of 3 weeks or 4 weeks off. But hers wasn't. It wasn't said to have been a break. It was said to have been to recover from, some sort of exhaustive illness, something like that. You read between the lines, you think, that's something that's worrying. And then, of course, you look at her history, and she's beaten cancer officially.
Yeah, she did,
on a previous occasion. And unfortunately, cancer is one of those ghastly, horrible diseases which can always come back. And
some of the stories are saying that, that she was in a hospice for the last few days, and whatever the condition was, it just deteriorated very, very quickly, as it can sometimes do.
What I find absolutely amazing about it is that the suddenness of it. If we know that somebody's got, a terrible disease which is debilitating them and they get weaker and weaker and they go out of public life and all that kind of stuff, then you kind of expect it. But nobody expected this. She was due back, I think, in a couple of weeks' time or next week or something like that. And now we'll never see her again on screen. And it's a shocking loss, particularly for the aficionados of Coronation Street, of which I've been since day one. I think it's been going 50 years now. So
that's right.
It's...
And the pictures, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of her from 1973, shortly after she joined the cast of the show. And also just looking at all the pictures through the decades, I suppose. It's almost like a digest of the different fashions, the way the different hairstyles were. And in the mirror, they've got Tears for the Weatherfield One of a Kind, which is going on about that time when there was that Free the Weatherfield One, wasn't there, when she was in prison for fraud, and it said it was that jailing of her in that particular storyline that turned her into a legend.
Yeah, well, there were two things really that turned her into a legend, but ever since she married Ken Barlow, the question all Coronation Street fans have been asking is, how could Deirdre and Ken possibly get on together? Yeah. Ken was a cerebral, rather dull, thinker and reader and library goer, and Deirdre was portrayed as an airhead, who was more worried about a blancmange recipe and all that kind of stuff. Right. You know what I mean? And who never really had very much in common with Ken at all. Yeah. So, but it was astonishing longevity, isn't it? 40 years in the same programme is not bad at all. Yeah. And she went from like a young hopeful, aspiring young hopeful to, as you quite rightly say, the grand dame, I suppose, of the programme. I suppose Emily Nugent is the grand dame. But you understand what I'm saying. I mean, she grew through it all and some amazing plot lines. And I just feel terribly I feel sad. Very, very sad. I think it's shocking. When somebody dies so suddenly like that, they're here 1 minute and gone the next, then you don't know what to do.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of tributes coming in, not least from the various people on the show itself. The executive producer, Kieran Roberts, says, there are no words to describe the sense of grief we feel at Anne's passing. We know only too acutely how much Anne meant to the millions of people who watched her create the legendary character of Deirdre Barlow. She will be greatly missed by the Coronation Street team, who share happy memories of working with her. We feel blessed and honoured to have known her. Our thoughts are with David and their family. So lots and lots of tributes coming in, and of course, as I say, it's all over the newspapers.
She was at the centre of one of the really great action plots in Coronation Street when Mike Baldwin, who was the factory owner, suddenly...
Who she also married, right? She had the affair with him.
Exactly. She suddenly turns attention to her. And, you know, what I've said about Ken, the dull, the boring one, the cerebral one, buried his head in books all the time. She saw Mike as a more exciting flyboy from London, running the factory and, buying her expensive champagne and that kind of stuff. So she went off with him. And that provoked, obviously, a confrontation between Ken Barlow and Mike Baldwin. And that resulted in some of the greatest fight scenes Coronation Street have ever seen.
Really?
And, of course, she was the centre of it because she was the woman they were fighting over.
Right.
And you wonder to yourself what plots now they won't be able to employ in Coronation Street because she's gone. And she was at the centre of so many of the, things like, she got jailed for fraud, her daughter got jailed for murder, all that sort of thing. She was a platform for lots and lots and lots of tangential plots in Coronation Street. Terribly, terribly sad. Really, sometimes, you feel like you know somebody when you've never even met her. I've never even met her, but as you quite rightly say, huge Coronation Street fan. Yeah. Coronation Street looks like the street I was brought up in, and she played the part of a woman in that sort of environment perfectly.
Yeah, well, she will be very, very sadly missed, and we'll be talking some more about that a little bit later on in the show. Now, I appreciate your thoughts on all of that, Mike. What we must do now, though, is revert back to some of the things that went on last week, because I've got a couple of bones to pick with you, I'm afraid.
Yeah, okay.
Now, one of them concerns the duck. You presented me with a duck on the show last week, which I was to give to my son for a belated birthday present.
Yes.
Right? As we were walking out the building, you asked me for the duck back.
I did, yeah.
Claiming that actually you needed it for some other purpose.
No.
That it wasn't really a suitable present for him.
I was dismayed at the derision you showed to the present. It was something that I had thought deeply
like a
about.
Seagull.
I thought that if your son wanted to know the identity of the giver of the present, then the duck was perfect because I'm so well known for the charitable work I do at my duck conservancy. Yeah. Sometimes getting up at 3:30 in the morning, not to come in here and work with you, but to go and feed my ducks in freezing weather like this, when the pond is frozen over, when they haven't even got water, they might be dying of thirst, right? I go out there, I take them bottles of water in freezing weather.
Bottles of water?
Yeah, when there's snow on the ground.
How do they drink out of the bottle?
Well, I pour it into containers for them,
Containers?
Yeah.
What sort of containers?
Plastic bowls.
Plastic bowls?
Yeah.
Or just leave them there?
No, I have them in the boot of my car. They're part of my duck kit.
What on earth? The boot of your car's like the TARDIS?
No, it's not.
This is where you found all those other useless presents that you've given me over the last few weeks.
What are you on about?
Well, you gave me the Wellington boots out of the boot of your car. You gave me chocolate out of the boot of your car.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some kind of forensic examination of the boot of your car.
Well, a boot is where you put things like that, isn't it?
Well, the point about the duck is this, right? Unfortunately for you, my two sons were listening to the podcast from Friday's show.
Right.
So the younger one, whose birthday it was, said, "Where's my duck?"
Yes.
And I said, well, I wasn't able to bring it. I couldn't tell him the real story, that you'd actually given it in one hand and taken it away with the other.
Yes.
So he now wants a duck. But then I showed him the picture of the duck, and he doesn't want that duck. He wants a different duck.
What sort of duck would he like? A mallard duck?
One that looks like a duck as opposed to one that looks like a seagull would be helpful.
No. They're ducks. Look, I'm a bit annoyed about this one. I'm a giver in life. I'm a giver.
Yeah, but you're also a taker away.
No. Your derision was such that I thought I don't feel easy with this anymore, so I'll take it back. I will, however... Because
you put it back in your duck collection, haven't you? Because that's why I accused you of bringing it from there in the first place.
No. It was new, but I have added it to my duck collection. Yeah, but because I feel very strongly about not wanting to distress and upset your little boy, he will be getting another present from me. Okay?
Oh, great!
And I'll bring
You're going to have a rifle around in the back of the car.
No.
What's knocking around?
No. I will bring that in next week.
Okay.
I'll bring that next week.
Well, I should look forward to that.
Okay.
I've also got a lot to talk to you about regarding the weekend as well, because you might have noticed that I tweeted out a picture of me wearing a Henry VIII mask.
Well, what's all that about? Is this in tribute to Wolf Hall, which is starting on Wednesday night?
It's partly in tribute to Wolf Hall.
And may form part of my TV review, by the way.
But it's also partly in tribute to my weekend, because I had a very historic weekend.
Yes.
Or historical, even. I went to London Dungeon, first of all.
Yes.
But then also went to the Tower of London. Found out some fascinating stuff, but there's pictures, of course, of Henry VIII all over the place. You might have seen over the weekend as well that I tweeted out a picture of Samuel Pepys, because there was a picture of Samuel Pepys.
Yeah.
And he looks a spitting image of me when I was a bit younger.
No, he doesn't.
Some people said, right, he looks better than you do now.
No.
The portrait that I saw of him in Tower of London was pictured of him when he was about 33.
I saw the comparative picture.
I thought he looks very like me.
I saw the comparative picture, and I don't think he looked anything like you at all.
Really?
I thought he looked quite suave and sophisticated. You just looked like your normal floppy-haired self.
Well, I mean, I looked a little bit like him when I was his age.
Well, I didn't think you did. But anyway, look, tell me about the dungeon, because I thought the London Dungeon was a place where they just went and tortured people, but you told me about all these strange sort of play-acting things that go on when you go in there.
Well, it's a tourist attraction, so they've done it very well, actually. What happens is you go there, and you're sort of ushered through in small groups, and every room that you go to, whether it's about the great plague of London, whether it's about Guy Fawkes, whether it's about whatever, is they have somebody kind of in costume, in character, telling you the story of what happened. For example, they had a guy talking about the execution of Guy Fawkes and how they found him, and then they actually had Guy Fawkes himself saying, actually, none of that's true. This is what really happened. This is how much they tortured me and how terribly they tortured me, and the fact that they actually pulled my fingers out of their sockets.
Oh, they put him on the rack.
As they were, they put him in the manacles as well.
Yeah,
and they put him on the rack.
Yeah. What are the manacles?
The manacles are like the sort of handcuffs that are chained to the wall, so that your hands go above your head, and they literally hang you by your hands.
Yeah.
So that kind of completely dislocates your wrists and all your bones and everything else. And then at some point or other...
Well, no, surely if you're just hanging like that, there's no problem, is there?
Well, there is if you're not standing on the floor.
No, that just means that,
you're hanging by your wrists.
Yeah, that's a bit uncomfortable, but I mean...
Well, it's very uncomfortable if they do it for a long time.
It's not... Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? It's not torture, is it?
We should try it on you. What do you mean it's not torture?
No, I just thought that was just where they put you just to make sure
you
didn't escape.
Why don't you put your hands above your head and see how long you can hold them there for? See if you can hold them there for an entire minute.
Yeah, but their hands are held up by manacles and knocked into the wall.
Yeah.
I thought
that's about 4 seconds.
I know they tortured him badly because I've seen...
As opposed to... Goodly.
Yeah, exactly, as opposed to Goodly. Because I've seen Guido Fawkes' signature of confession before they put him on the rack. And then I've seen...
Guido Fawkes?
Guido. Guy
Fawkes, you mean?
His name's Guido.
I thought Guido Fawkes was that political blogger.
No. Guido Fawkes is named after... The political blogger is named after Guido Fawkes. And you're spilling tea all over your cashmere jumper.
This one's not cashmere, this one's cotton.
I told you, didn't I, that when you gave it to our lovely newsreader the other night, it was a
Ben?
No, the lady.
Oh, Kate.
Yeah. It was
ages ago. That's really formed an impression.
Scruffy old, beer-stained jumper.
No, this is a cotton sweater.
Cotton, yeah. No worries. Anyway, old Guido Fawkes, right? I've seen his signature before the torture,
right?
And so I don't know why they tortured him, because he'd already confessed. I would give him a hard time, for trying to blow up
apparently he only
Parliament.
confessed after they'd already arrested all of his co-conspirators anyway.
Right, OK. Well, I saw his signature before he was tortured, and then I saw his signature afterwards, and the afterwards one is all so wobbly, it doesn't look like Guido Fawkes.
Well, that's probably not him.
No, that's because
his hands were all broken.
No, well, what the thing is, when they put him on the rack, they don't put the stretching bits around your wrists, they put them each around each finger. And then they just keep turning the rack more and more and more. The other dreadful thing that they're doing to him...
You say the time, by the way.
Yeah, but let me just tell you this.
No, you can't tell me. We're out of time.
No, it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
I'll tell you in a minute. But the thing is,
you're on 4 nights a week now. You can wait.
I can't take torture. I couldn't take torture.
No.
I'd be no good as a spy.
No.
I'd tell them everything, providing they didn't torture me.
Well, you'd tell them everything. You'd tell them everything for a cheeseburger, as you revealed the other day. This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two mics, and of course, there's loads more to come.
That boy needs therapy.
This is TalkSport Extra Time with the two mics. We're here now 4 nights a week, of course. I'm delighted to say Mr. Parry's going to be in every single night.
That's right.
And some people are saying, can we give Mr. Parry a quiz every night?
I'll be watching you.
We could give you a quiz every night, but I think that might be cruel.
So
we're going to only give you a quiz once a week, so it's going to be still Thursday.
And is it going to be Coronation Street this week
not sure if it is.
in tribute to Deirdre?
There's already a quiz underway. The quiz masters are already underway giving you a quiz on cliffs.
Cliffs?
Cliffs, yeah.
What a stupid thing.
Why is it stupid? Well, we did one on tomatoes last week. Why not do one on cliffs?
Ridiculous, honestly.
Well, you've fallen down a cliff, haven't you?
Yeah, I have fallen down a cliff.
You remember the famous question you put to me, have you ever fallen off a cliff?
Well, yeah.
Which was a really stupid question.
No, it's not a stupid question, because I fell off a cliff, and so I was only telling you about it, wasn't I?
Right. Well, so anyway, the point is that there will be an expert quiz on cliffs coming up on Thursday. And Porky Vision, of course, will appear on a Wednesday. And one of the reasons,
right? Is that my TV review?
That's
fantastic. Wolf Hall starts Wednesday.
Well, Wolf Hall starts on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons I bought this Henry VIII mask when I was at the Tower of London.
Excellent.
At one point,
I love that. I like that mask. I like it very much.
I was going to give it to you.
How much does it cost?
£2.50.
Wow. Why did you get me one as well?
Well, I thought about whether we should get two.
Exactly. Of course you do. You don't think laterally, do you? You can't think laterally. That's your problem.
I don't think I had enough money, actually.
You can't think laterally.
I think that was all I had on me.
Now, listen, let me tell you something about my TV review.
Well, before you get to your TV review, I want to tell you some more about London, the Tower of London, right? But I'll tell you what I discovered. They've got a little exhibition which is kind of on throughout the place at the moment. I don't know if you've ever been to the Tower of London, have you? Have you seen the Crown Jewels?
Of course I have.
Have you?
Of course I have.
Were you there recently?
Every patriotic Englishman should go there.
Right.
Well, I would say a few years ago.
A few years ago, yeah. Well, I've been there a few times, and I haven't been there for a while.
But I met the head beefeater, who's the Birdman. He looks after the birds, yeah.
Do you know they've got some of the ravens in cages now?
Oh, have they?
Because you know the legend says that if the ravens ever fly away, the place will fall down.
No, the monarchy will fall.
Well, the Tower Hill will fall as well.
Well, is that right? Okay.
Well, so now they've got them. So they must believe the superstition because they've got some that fly around, but they've also got some in cages.
No, none of the ravens fly around.
Yeah, they do.
No, they're not. All their wings are clipped. Honestly.
Well, they're flying around the general area.
No, they can't.
Well, I saw one flying.
No, you couldn't have done.
Yeah,
you couldn't have done.
Well, what was it then?
You were in the London Dungeon, not the Tower of London.
No, I was in the. There are no ravens in the London Dungeon. It's all underground.
That's what I mean.
No, I was in the Tower of London on Sunday. I was in the London Dungeon on Saturday.
Oh, really? I didn't realise that. Oh.
Well, what do you think I got the mask? I told you I bought it at the Tower of London.
Oh, I thought you said I bought it at the London Dungeon. Sorry.
No.
Well,
anyway,
did you at the Tower of London? Did you see the story about the two princes?
Yes, I did. I went into the
young
bloody
princes,
tower.
That's right, who were murdered.
Yeah, well, I knew about that story.
I knew about that story. I know about all the stories. I'm a student of history.
Funnily enough, you go into... Well, we've already done a history course, but we know how well you did on that.
Yeah.
You go into the bloody tower, and they've actually... You know what they use as the storyline for what actually happened?
Yeah.
Is they play the scene from Richard III, starring Laurence Olivier. You know that old Laurence Olivier film where they talk about smothering the boys. Terrible story. Made me feel quite unwell. The kids actually weren't too impressed with it. But I'll tell you what was really interesting. The one thing I learned, which I didn't know, is they've got all these different animals now. Sort of, they're not real animals. They're kind of sculptured animals. That apparently the Tower of London was full of animals. They used to have lions there.
That's right.
They had a polar bear who was allowed to go fishing in the River Thames.
It
was a gift of one of the kings of Norway.
God.
And all of these animals, they had giraffes there as well. And all these kings from around the world would send these animals over.
Yeah.
And in the end, they ended up sending them all to the start of when they built London Zoo. They said, right, all these animals go to London
Regent's
Zoo.
Park.
But they had lions there, and they used to feed them dogs.
Oh, no, terrible.
Live dogs.
Oh, no, I can't believe that.
Can you
That's
imagine?
Awful. Shocking. In fact, there's a report knocking around somewhere that Middle Ages man used to eat dogs.
That's right. Dogs and badgers.
And badgers.
Europeans. That
dogs
was their,
and badgers.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I can't stand all that.
I suppose you'd eat, basically, whatever you get your hands on.
Yeah, I suppose so. What I told you about torture, right?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, about 6, I saw a war film, a Second World War film, because we had fought in the Second World War, so we was always watching Second World War films, right? And it was a terrible film about the Nazis had captured some of our people, and they were torturing them. And I heard my mum say to my dad, "Oh, they pulled his fingernails out." So ever since that day,
was this before the watershed?
Yeah, it must have been before the watershed.
Or were you sort of sitting up late?
Probably I was sitting up late, I would imagine. But anyway, ever since that day, I bit my nails right down as low as I could, because I heard my dad say, they used to pull their fingernails out with pliers.
Right.
And I thought, well, you're not getting my fingernails, because if I bite them down so low...
bizarre.
There's not...
They can still get them with pliers, trust me.
Well, this I didn't realise until years later. They'll actually then...
Do you still bite them now?
Yeah, I do, yeah. But
so from that childhood trauma...
Oh, absolutely. I was so terrified of being captured by the Nazis and having my nails pulled out of my fingers.
Well, what about now?
Well, I learn a bit more about it now and realise that it probably won't happen. But, hopefully.
Well, so why don't you let them grow a bit then?
Well, because I got used to sort of biting them. But I realise, of course, now all they do is get a chisel under your nail and then, oh, God,
That's a bit of thinking about.
But... I read a book last week.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
About a scientist who has developed a method of closing your brain off to pain.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it's the most valuable military weapon in the world, and he's found the secret.
Well, Gordon Liddy is famous for explaining the how to deal with pain situation.
Who's Gordon Liddy?
Gordon Liddy was a guy, one of the Watergate burglars.
Was he?
He was working for the White House at the time, the committee to re-elect the president, or CREEP, as it was known.
Yeah.
And G. Gordon Liddy was the sort of the former Special Forces guy.
I see.
Who kind of organised the whole thing.
I
He was
see.
a very, very dark character.
Yes.
And apparently his party trick was to go to whichever house he was in. If there was a candle there, he would hold his hand over the top of the candle,
right?
Until it was actually burning his skin.
Yeah.
And people would be kind of, just wincing and looking at him, and he would just stand there and it wouldn't hurt at all. And he would say, "Do you know what the trick is?"
No, go on.
Well, don't just shake your head.
No,
that doesn't work
well,
on radio.
of course I'm shaking my head. Yeah.
And he said the trick is not minding.
Is not minding?
Not minding.
What does that mean?
Not minding that it's painful. That's the point. It's mind over matter. So it does hurt him just as much as it hurts everybody else.
Yes.
But he doesn't mind. That's strength of mind.
That's what I mean. Yeah, brain.
Well, that's why I'm telling you the story.
Yeah.
To illustrate what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. What happened is
this is going to be like this for 4 nights.
No. What happened is this doctor broke his thigh.
Did he?
In a car crash.
Oh yeah.
And he knew, as a doctor, this is the most painful thing you can do because it was bent double. You know what I mean? And it was.
It was his femur, was it?
Yeah, his femur, and the bone was coming through the skin and all that.
Like Deliverance.
But he decided if he didn't do something, he was going to die.
Yeah.
So he found.
How about go to hospital?
Well, he was trapped in the car, wasn't he? So unless they took the car with him to hospital and found a big operating theatre.
Why didn't he call 999?
Well, of course he did, you fool. But I'm talking about the early minutes of this car crash when he's trapped in the car.
I see.
And he's in. And he's.
I would have thought the best thing to do is wait for the specialist to turn up.
Well, of course he was.
You hack away at the bone that's sticking out your leg.
Who said he was doing any of that?
Well, I mean, you don't want to start doing stuff like that. I'm saying you want to wait.
I didn't say. What I'm saying is he realised that he was going to go into dementia with the pain if he didn't do something about it. What are you laughing at?
Why would he go into dementia?
Because it drives you mad. Pain can drive you mad.
Okay.
That's why I could never be tortured. I'd rather.
What's the most pain you've ever been in? Was it painful when your heart was,
no,
on the blink?
No, it was terribly debilitating. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, but not painful.
Couldn't lie down, couldn't stand up and all that kind of stuff. No, it wasn't painful, no.
So what did you do then if you couldn't lie down or stand up?
I had to sit down and sleep sitting down and that kind of stuff.
Sitting down.
Oh, it was awful because there was so much fluid in your body. Yeah. It was all flowing into your lungs and it would have killed you if you'd lie down, you'd drown. But anyway, that's another story. I don't want to talk about my heart. Only 1/3 of it works.
Well, what's the most pain you've ever felt then? Let me put it that way.
The most pain I've ever felt... what is it? It would be.
You've never felt any pain, have you?
Yes, I have. Yeah, terrible pain. I think, to be honest, it was the time my knee ligaments went, and I had to walk unaided without a stick and all that kind of stuff. That is terribly, terribly painful.
I'm sure it must be. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I do know how to treat pain. Honestly, all you do is...
You just said you can't take it. You've got a very low pain threshold.
Yeah, I don't like to be tortured or anything like that.
I think men generally are not very good with pain.
Well, I don't know.
That's why they say if men had to give birth, basically the whole species would have died out centuries ago. Because men wouldn't bother. They'd just be like, no, thanks.
I sometimes say to myself, to try and work out a real mind dilemma I've got is, would it be better to suffer the pain of, for instance... somebody burning your skin, like branding you or something like that. No, what do you
Where do you come up with this
Well, no. Or
do you actually think about this?
Or would it be worse to be given sleep deprivation? You see what I mean? And I don't think
doing without sleep's as bad as getting branded.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But apparently it is because it starts destroying your mind, and you go bonkers and all that kind of stuff.
With the way of the torture methods they use now, they do sort of all sorts of that. Have you ever seen? You don't watch Homeland, do you?
No.
Because when you see what they do to people, it's kind of this mental torture. Where,
I see.
You might remember going back to the Ipcress file with Michael Caine. Do you remember?
Yes.
And they kept letting him drop off to sleep and just waking him up with a really loud noise.
Yeah.
And after about 4 or 5 days, he had no sleep at all.
That's right.
And he's completely delirious.
And you go mad. See, the other one, which I don't quite understand, is apparently it's very, very painful to. Oh, by the way, I saw a programme on Caligula. I'm going to do it in my TV review. Is it
relatively recent or is it an old one?
No.
It's not that old Bob Guccione movie, is it?
No. This was a proper documentary on Caligula.
Right. Okay.
And he used to have lovers who were both male and female. When he finished with them, he'd have them whipped to death. So they couldn't tell of any of the intimate secrets of the bedchamber and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a good idea to get picked up by Caligula.
No, not really.
Because, it's going to be okay for a couple of hours and then, your fate awaited you. What are you laughing at?
Well, just the description of it's going to be okay for a couple of hours.
Yeah. But then, you see...
Can you say the time, by the way?
Yeah, okay, in a minute. But you keep telling me that.
Yeah,
because I keep trying to tell you things. I don't understand how one of the most painful tortures you can suffer is to have the soles of your feet whipped by a bamboo cane. What are you laughing at?
Of course it's painful.
No, I see
Maybe we should try some of these out on you.
No. The skin on my feet is
very thick. We'll do it on the live show.
Of course,
We'll do it on the live show.
No, excuse me.
I'll bring a horsewhip.
And what I would do is, I'd do the old Brer Rabbit trick, you see what I mean, if I was captured. You know the Brer Rabbit trick?
What's that?
Don't throw me in the nettles. Please, anything, but don't throw me in the nettles. Yeah. I can't stand being thrown in the nettles. In fact, that was the only thing Brer Rabbit didn't fear because of his skin, a rabbit and all that. He didn't get stung by nettles, So in the end, they threw him in the nettles and he scarpered off. So I would say things like, please don't whip my feet. Don't beat my feet with a bamboo cane, please. When they did, it wouldn't hurt because I've got thick skin on my feet.
Well, they do normally take your shoes off. This is Talk Sport Extra Time with the two mics. And there'll be much more of Porky's Madness coming up next. This is Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. He's Mike Parry. We are the two Mikes. There will be a podcast out, of course, in the morning. There'll be 4 podcasts, actually, this week, because now you're on 4 nights a week. There'll be 4 podcasts, which is brilliant news. Excellent. Absolutely fantastic.
We love it.
Now, you will, of course, know the song there was by ZZ Top.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know quite how we got to this point because I'm not quite sure exactly what the sequence of events was.
Well, I volunteered you.
Well, you volunteered me to make a complete idiot of myself, completely humiliate myself by going on Stars in Your Eyes.
You need the challenge. Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what it is.
I don't need a challenge,
I'll tell you exactly what it is, right?
How did this happen?
Well, I didn't see the first episode of Stars in Your Eyes.
This is the new show, right?
The series that's been brought back and is now hosted by Harry Hill.
Yes.
Who's one of the funniest men on television.
He is very funny, yeah.
And the reason I didn't see the first one is I was travelling last weekend. It's a family thing down in on the coast.
Yes.
And so I didn't see it. However,
can't you watch it on ITV Player?
Well, I could, but I haven't had time at the moment. So I was determined to watch a second one. Now, there was one guy came on and he did Jersey Boys brilliantly.
Okay.
What was the name of the group?
Frankie Valli,
Frankie Valli. Yeah, brilliantly. A girl came on and she did Tina Turner. Yeah, and she did Tina Turner.
Is this the most recent one you're talking about?
Yes, that's right.
Because because after I found out about all of this, I thought, well, I better look at this show because I hadn't actually seen it, right?
Yeah.
And the first girl that I saw was doing Jessie J.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I met her, by the way, in the Spurs boardroom last year, the Everton game. Oh no, I was with you. It was the year before. It was the year before. Yeah, in the boardroom at Everton.
You worked with me?
No, at
you
Spurs.
Didn't take me into the boardroom.
No, it was the year before. I wouldn't take you into the boardroom anyway. I wouldn't embarrass myself.
Well, the last time, not the last time we went to Spurs, but the time before, which was the previous season. You went up to try and get into the boardroom, and were you not rebuffed by Daniel Levy?
No, not at all. No, I went in and he was there. He was there, Daniel Levy, and that might be when I saw her. Anyway, look, let's get back to the subject.
Why would you see her there? What was she doing there?
Oh, she was a guest and she was in the director's box.
Really?
She's a big star. I didn't realise what a big star she was.
Oh, you mean the real Jessie J?
Yeah, the real Jessie J.
I thought you meant the woman from the Stars in Your Eyes.
No,
you idiot. I'm thinking, why would she be there?
Follow the plot.
Well, it's not easy.
Anyway,
you've already lost it.
Look, so anyway, I'm looking at it and I suddenly thought, I was inspired, Mike, utterly inspired. I thought, if I was going to do this, who would I be? And then, thinking of you, my work colleague...
Why on earth did you suddenly think you want to go on this show?
Because I knew that it was an opportunity for me to broaden the appeal that I have to people when I sing. And you
don't have any appeal to people when you sing.
I do. I'm a singer, and it's a singing show. People love my voice, right? So what I thought was...
I mean, the average age of people going on that show, presumably, is considerably lower than your own.
Anyway, look, just listen to hear me out. I thought initially, right, people keep sending me mocking tweets saying I'm Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
I'll do Kenny Rogers.
Do Kenny Rogers.
And I would have done...
You wouldn't need any makeup.
And I would have done... Oh, Ruby... Don't take your love to town. I don't know why you laugh all the time. You laugh because you can't match anything I do.
No, because you've slightly elongated the Ruby to a ridiculous point.
Anyway, then I thought...
But these people are meant to do it well, though.
Hang on a second. Then I thought I will be inclusive with you.
Yeah.
I thought, I know.
Which is very kind of you to think
Top.
Of me. Yeah.
She's got legs. Well, we've just played the tune.
Yeah.
She knows how to use them, right? So I then, guess what? With the inspiration of that...
This is what slightly worries me, because from this point, one thing, you didn't have a conversation with me. You didn't ring me up to say, by the way,
it doesn't matter.
How do you fancy entering Stars in Your Eyes? To which I would have said, no thanks very much.
I rang up Paul Hawksby.
Yeah, well, that's where I start to have a bit of a problem.
Paul has... Paul works on the show, and he knows Harry Hill very well, and he's worked with him for years. And I put it to him, and I said, don't you think it's brilliant? And I think he thought it was brilliant. I think he thought it was...
Are you sure?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because he's a very polite boy anyway.
You don't think he's just doing it in order to make fun of you?
I spoke to Andy Jacobs, of course, his work partner.
Yeah, well, this is my point. I got a phone call yesterday afternoon from the production team from Hawksby and Jacobs saying they want you and I on their show tomorrow.
That's right.
Or later on today.
At 1:30.
At 1:30 to discuss our entry to Stars in Your Eyes.
Yeah.
To which I went, what entry is that then?
Well, you see, I've got to tell you.
Hasn't Porky told you?
No, I've got to tell you. But I know you...
Well, no, he hasn't mentioned it.
But I mean, ZZ Top, right? Two fellas standing there, long beards, guitars that spin round.
Yeah.
But it was the video, wasn't it, with the iconic red car zooming up and down the desert highway?
And it had the Z, or the Z, I suppose you would say, is the key ring. Do you remember? It was like a magic car.
And... beautiful girls piled out of the car at the gas station and bamboozled, the men of
Are you hoping that if we ever get to the point where we're actually on TV with this, that there will be similarly strutting women in the background?
I hope so, very much so.
Is that the other reason you're doing it?
Well, I do like to try and impress the female form.
They're all very tall,
obviously. Yeah, I know, that doesn't matter. But I mean, the long iconic beards, the hat, the spinning guitars, I thought it was perfect for us, Mike. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, well, don't you think you should have actually asked me before you actually entered us into this kind of maelstrom?
The problem with you is you have too many losing tendencies, and I wasn't going to give you the chance.
I wasn't going to give you the chance until you and I started working on the radio, and I'll say this to Hawksby and Jacobs tomorrow. I was a relatively serious journalist, I always remember the time that Jedward came in to see us. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah,
when we were in the mid-morning show. And you produced these two Jedward wigs.
That's right, yeah.
Right? It was the only first and only time that there's been a screaming bunch of girls outside.
That's right.
For Jedward, right?
That's right.
And I always remember Andy Jacobs saying to me as we went outside to have a picture done with the two ridiculous Jedward wigs on, he said, poor Mike Graham. He said, used to be a serious journalist. What he's having to do now.
Yeah, well, it's life changes, man, and serious journalism left you behind. Anyway, look, I will tell you more, much more about...
I mean, you haven't signed anything, have you?
I can't get into the contractual details of what I've agreed.
Until we've had a proper conversation.
And remember, it won't be in this series, because, all the plans for this series are in place now, and I can't change them. But I have very high hopes for the next series.
Really?
And I can't tell you too much more about it. And I'm not going to tell you anything more about the show, because that's going to be in the Porky Vision TV review.
Yes, yeah.
What night's that?
That's Wednesday night.
That's Wednesday night, right? OK. Sorry, is that Wednesday night, Thursday morning?
Wednesday into Thursday morning.
Yeah, well, Thursday morning. OK, that's great.
And you'll have seen Wolf Hall by then as well, won't you?
I'll have seen Wolf Hall by then. And, of course, the latest Broadchurch. And do you know what? There was a fantastic piece in one of the Sunday papers.
Don't tell me.
Saying there are massive holes in the plot and the detail and all that. But I'll go into that on Porky Vision,
yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
Don't need to tell you anything more about that.
It actually took me until, I think it was last night, when I finally caught up with last Monday's Broadchurch.
Did you? Yeah.
So I've now seen it. But what I haven't seen is the one that went out last night. Have you seen the one that went out last night?
I have not, but I've seen the first. You've seen the first two?
I've seen the first two,
yes. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's great. That's good. But we'll talk about Porky Vision on Thursday. What we need to talk about now, Mike, what we need to talk about...
Anyway, all I'd say is a final rejoinder, and we'll speak about it, I'm sure, on Hawksby Jacobs tomorrow at 1:30. Just don't sign anything and commit me to anything without please running it past me.
Okay.
Because, I may not wish to do it.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Okay. Just to let the
you didn't listen to that, did you?
I did.
I can tell. You've got that look on your face again. No.
We're at 1:30 with Hawksby tomorrow. And by the way, can I just remind the listeners while we're in the eye in the
eye of the hurricane?
No, in the mood of reminding listeners, we've almost sold all the tickets for the Birmingham show.
Yeah.
And we're absolutely delighted. Thank you ever so much for the response and all that. Can I please say, and I promise you, this is not a cheap shot at trying to sell the remaining tickets. Well, it's not, is it?
No, obviously not. No, it isn't, because we've actually sold.
There are only a few tickets left, and the show's still 4, 5, 6 or 7 weeks away, and they might all be gone by the end of the week. That's all I wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
Now,
we'll tweet out the link, so if you want to buy some.
Now, I'll tell you, I was going to
looking forward to seeing an awful lot of people.
Would you agree the Times is one of the most serious papers in the world?
The Times, I think it has definitely improved under the new editor.
Right. What about this, man? This really hit me in the face. This story tonight. It's in this morning's Times.
Shall I tell you a funny story about the editor of the Times?
Yeah, go on. The current one or the previous one?
The current one.
Right, what's his name?
I often wonder... Well, I don't want to give his name out. Why are you always obsessed with
giving out names? Well, there's only one editor of the Times.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to give his name out.
Why not?
Because people might not know his name, and I'm not going to reveal what it is.
Ooh.
Anyway, you will revel in this particular story, because that show Sliding Doors, that programme Sliding Doors, the movie, with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, I never saw it, but it's about a tube train. What are you laughing at?
It's not just about a tube train.
It's about a tube train.
Well, yeah, it's not really, but it's about choices in life, right?
Right.
I was at a party in a pub in Wapping somebody's leaving party from the Sunday Times.
Okay.
As he was working for the Sunday Times in those days, but he wasn't the editor. He was like the foreign editor of the Sunday Times.
Right.
And he's now become a massive bigwig in the Murdoch organisation.
Right.
He offered me a lift home in his car, because at the time I was...
He had a chauffeur, did he?
No, I think because he was foreign editor, he was just driving his own car.
Well, did he have a drink?
I can't remember. I don't think he had much to drink, no.
Well, he couldn't have done if he got into a car and drove home.
Well,
anyway,
he probably
go on,
didn't.
Yeah.
Why are you obsessed with how much he had to drink?
Well, because most people who go to leaving parties get absolutely bladdered.
Well, not at the Sunday Times, mate.
And,
not at the Sunday Times.
You know, get a car home, a taxi or something.
Not at the Sunday Times.
Okay, go
right,
on.
Which you've never worked for, and I have. Anyway.
I've had pieces published in the Sunday Times.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you'd like to bring them in.
Well, why? They're of no interest to people now, years on.
Well, because I don't believe you. Why?
Yeah?
Anyway, you'll love this story because I'm telling it against myself. He offered me a lift home, and I thought to myself, this is good because, he was, up-and-coming young executive. He was obviously destined for great things.
Who are you working for, then?
I'd come back to work for the Express.
Right.
I was just back in London.
The job I gave you at the Express,
well, the job that you had arranged for me.
No, the job that I gave you at the Express, yeah.
Yeah, surely before abandoning my apartment in New York. Anyway, the thing was, I'd started talking to this girl at the party.
Henrietta, did you?
Who was also working at the...
You trying to pick her up, were you?
I was, yeah.
Despite the fact that you were married at the time,
yes,
obviously.
that's right, yeah.
And so you admit that shamelessly?
I do, yeah.
You were on the...
I'm no longer married, right? So there's no reason for me
you were
not to
then.
admit it. I was then,
But you're being infidelious that night.
I was, yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, I was hoping to be, let's put it that
honestly,
way. Well, no, I was hoping to be.
Disgraceful attitude to life.
Hang on.
You don't even feel ashamed of yourself.
No, I don't. It's a funny story. Anyway, so I said to him, look, thanks very much indeed. Actually, I'm going to stay and have another drink because I quite fancied my chances with this girl.
Right.
And I often wonder what would have happened if I'd got in the car with him and whether my career and, life would have been any different instead of going back to her place and, getting it on.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, you struck up a relationship with the woman that night?
I did, yeah.
An instant sexual relationship?
I did, yeah.
I don't know how you could sit here and admit all this.
Why?
I mean, your morals are those of an alley cat. You are
I just thought you'd appreciate...
a disgraceful...
I thought you'd appreciate the story.
Disgraceful dregs of humanity, you are.
A very long time ago.
That's a disgusting behaviour. It's a moral code which I find
very long time
offensive
ago.
and repulsive.
It was a very long time ago.
And why have you told the story, anyway?
Because you were talking about the Times.
Oh, the Times.
And the guy who was giving me a lift home is now the editor of the Times.
It says that the Sun are going to abandon page 3.
I know.
About that?
Well, I'm surprised in a way, but also not surprised because there's been pressure on them for a long time. I, for a long time, have thought that page 3 is a bit of a sort of anomaly now in this day and age.
I like it. I like looking at pictures of pretty girls.
Well, I'll tell you what.
There's absolutely no problem.
Well, that's fine, but
because,
I'll tell you what.
Do you know what it does? I think that stops people buying really sleazy magazines, top shelf stuff.
Absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
And also, it's not about that really anymore. But I mean, I'll tell you when I realised that it was out of date.
Yeah.
It was actually much longer time ago than this, but probably about 12 or so years ago. I was invited into one of my kids' primary schools to give them a talk about newspapers.
Right.
You'll probably laugh at that.
I was going to say, what a joke! Yeah,
no, it wasn't. And the teacher said to me,
were you not invited to kids' schools to give them a lecture on moral standing in society?
I wasn't actually. No,
married men going out deliberately trying to pick up women for sex at leaving parties.
No,
that's what you did, isn't it?
No,
you did. You
all.
did. You've just admitted it.
No, you're making it sound worse than it was. Anyway,
how much worse can it be?
They said to me, it'd be very good if you could bring in the morning papers and you can talk to the kids about the morning papers. Please don't bring the Sun in.
Right.
For obvious reasons.
Right.
And I think at that point, that was when I realised, this is not a family newspaper. It's not suitable to have. It's not suitable. It's not something you would read, for example, on the train with a picture of a half-naked woman. Yeah. It's not something that you would want your kids to see at the very young age that they're at.
Oh, I totally agree.
I wouldn't have my kids looking at it.
No, I totally agree.
And so for me, it's time they got rid of it, and I'm very glad they've done it.
I would never read The Sun in the company of a woman, to be honest, because...
Well, you don't do much in the company of a woman, really, do you?
What is that supposed to be? All I'm trying to say is I have a polite moral bearing in life, which you don't seem to appreciate, don't have. However, I thought the Sun was part of... I thought Page 3 was part of the Sun, and it'll be a different paper without it. But that might not be a bad thing.
So your definition of having a moral compass is arranging to meet somebody you haven't seen for a long time, seeing them from a distance in a pub, and then doing a runner because they put a bit of weight on. Now, have you got your winners and losers ready? Because we're going to be finding out from Mr. Ben Fletcher precisely what his... Toby Gillies not here. Toby Gillies has been coming in for a lot of flack, by the way, over the course of the last couple of weeks.
He's such a bad loser.
He really is.
His attitude...
Still going on about it on Twitter.
Attitude to the competition. He accuses me of being a cheat. He accuses you of being a cheat. He says that we conspire together to try and do him in and beat him.
Which is not true at all.
I mean, look, people don't like the boy because he's ugly. But we don't have any prejudices against him.
No, not
because
at all.
Radio is not a visual medium.
No, it's not.
It's an oral one.
That's why I'm slightly concerned about your plan to burst onto television. Really.
Oh yeah, no, we could do that. We could do that.
Now let's go back
massively.
to this story that I saw a bit earlier on in the day. The average Briton makes 35 mistakes per week. Are we a gaff-prone nation? Is the question. It adds up to 1,820 mistakes a year, apparently.
Yeah.
Most of them are minor slip-ups, like forgetting someone's birthday. You do that a lot. Typing in the wrong PIN number, which you've also done quite a lot. Others admitted to more serious mistakes, like having an affair or breaking the law.
Actually, my biggest regular mistake on a daily basis is, you have so many things going on in your mind all the time.
Well, not everybody has as much going on as you do. Well, you have an incredible mind, actually, I have to say. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good, because there's so much going on in there.
Look, I have to organise your life at the moment.
Well, you don't have to.
We're now doing a nightly show, and we have to conspire on the content of the show. I think you'll find that our stage career would not have been a stage career.
That's true.
Had I not been dealing with agents and theatres.
That's true.
And
listen, I've always been very fulsome in my praise of you doing all that.
No, well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And there's loads of other stuff going on, like having to organise the repairs to my roof garden.
Yes, how's that going, by the way?
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Has anything happened since the last time we spoke?
It's a legal nightmare.
It's still
now.
locked in the legal.
It's locked in legalese.
Yeah.
But they've come and taken all the materials away.
I see, that's not a good sign.
I mean, it's not good.
So they've taken the tiles away now as well.
Tiles away. Take the tiles away. They hauled them all the way up to the top on a pulley. They've now hauled them all the way down again.
Oh
yeah.
And the cherry picker's gone.
It's a bit of a nightmare.
How about the scaffolding? Are they taking that down?
No, it's still there. Well, I wish it wasn't, because there's a ladder on it leading up to my roof
place
garden.
must look a right tip.
Well, it's not good. It's not good, and I'm getting rather fed up about it.
Why are you picking things out of your eye?
I'm not. I'm rubbing it because I've got something in my eye.
What have you got in your eye?
I don't know.
Well, you know what you should. You're not rubbing it the right way.
Yeah.
If you've got something in your eye, rub it always in one direction towards the centre of your eye by your nose.
Okay.
Don't rub it in both directions, otherwise you'll never get it out.
Do you know?
You don't have to go every time you rub it either.
You say towards the centre of your face, like your eye.
Well, towards your
nose.
Yeah.
Now, you won't believe this, but in medieval times, because we were talking about medieval times, people were eating dogs and badgers, right?
Yeah.
Your body was full of parasites, and quite often when
I know the feeling.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, nothing to do with you.
Right,
it's not about you.
That's good.
It's not about you.
And you would be talking to somebody when who had like black teeth. Well, actually, they didn't have black teeth. Do you know why they didn't have black teeth in the Middle Ages?
Why not?
No sugar.
Oh, right.
No sugar, so the teeth didn't rot.
Do you know what they have clearly in bucket loads in the Tower of London was salt? One of the towers is called Salt Tower.
Salt Tower, that's right.
Because everything was preserved in salt, and they had salt for everything.
That's right, they did. That's why he called salt beef, because he used to put it on ships and feed sailors with it, but it's preserved in salt.
Well, because it was salt beef. That's why they call it salt beef.
No, but it was beef, and then it became salt beef because it was drenched in salt.
Yeah, it was cooked in salt. That's why it's called salt beef.
What I was going to say to you was,
go on.
In medieval time, and people only started getting rotten teeth when Walter Raleigh brought sugar back from the Caribbean, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, what would happen is, right? What would happen is as you were talking to somebody, all of a sudden, a worm would crawl out of the corner of their eye.
What?
Medieval bodies were full of parasites.
Rubbish.
Well, people even to this day can have tapeworms in the stomach and all that kind of stuff. But this worm might be 2 feet long, and it would literally crawl out of your eye.
Why did it come out your eye then?
Well, because that's an exit point from your body. It literally come out of your eye, and instead of like screaming and panicking and all that, because there were no mirrors in those days, so nobody could see what it was anyway.
Right.
They would just wait till it crawled out and then throw it away. You know what I mean? It happened all the time.
Really?
Happened all the time.
All right.
Things would sometimes, ease their way through your belly button and all this kind of stuff. I think
that's too horrible to even contemplate.
Well, I have to tell you these things because...
Let me run through instead this list of regular mistakes, right?
Okay.
And you can answer which ones you've done.
Okay.
Called someone the wrong name.
Well, I can't remember names of people, so I call everybody pal, mate, hello, my dear.
Apart from Tim Sherwood, who you called Steve.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
I was there.
No, I didn't.
Bought the wrong thing.
That sometimes happens.
Yeah, you bought the lawnmower. Remember when you lived in that apartment in Washington, D.C.?
That's true.
Bought the wrong size of clothing.
No, not really. Not very often. No.
Well, your own clothes all look the wrong size.
Well, you're so fat that your clothes look as though they've been burst and stitched back together again. You are a scruffy git.
Hang on.
You've got no dress sense whatsoever.
Forgot someone's birthday. Well, you're always doing that.
No, I'm not, because my sisters ring me up and remind me of all the birthdays in the family.
Well,
Niece,
you didn't remember
nephew,
my son's birthday.
mother.
Well,
I did do it, didn't I? I did.
Right. Typed in your credit card PIN incorrectly. You've done that before, haven't
you? No, but what I was going to tell you is my biggest mistake each week, each daily, is, because I've got all these things going on in my head, right? I go to a cash machine and I put my card in.
Right.
Then I cover the old, pad and tap out my password or passcode. What's it called?
It's called your PIN number.
PIN number, that's right. That's what I'm talking about, yeah. And then I sort of go off into a daydream somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing goes dee dee dee, and the plastic card comes back out. So I take that, I put it back in my wallet, and I walk off
without the money.
Do you
remember I did that? And luckily the thing ate the money, so nobody actually walked away with it.
Well, let me tell you this. If you do that in a country bank or something like that, you get away with it, because as you quite rightly say, it takes the money back in.
Yeah.
And when you get your statement, or if you look at it on your computer, it says £200, debit, £200 credit. It takes the money back. However, if you're standing in a queue outside Epsom railway station, and you do it at rush hour, and some dastardly devil behind you notices, he just puts the money in his pocket.
Really?
Yeah. And
aren't those all CCTV, though, those things? Can't you then go back and see if somebody took it?
Well, would you be bothered? I couldn't be
bothered.
I would.
If it was 200 quid, I would, yeah.
I can't be bothered. I mean, what do you do then? But what I'm saying is...
And surely if I was standing behind you and I didn't know you, I would say, excuse me, you've left your money in there.
That's never happened to me.
Has it not?
It's never happened to me.
Has somebody stolen it?
Oh, yeah, it's gone 2 or 3 times.
You see, Epsom's a very bad area.
It's not. It's a very good area. It's where they have the world's most famous race.
Yeah, I know.
The Derby.
I know.
So it's not a bad area at all. Anyway, go on, keep going.
There's a whole load here. I mean, there's so many of them, I can't do all of them. But here's one. Drove down a one-way street by mistake.
I did that once in Spain. In Marbella.
Did you?
And unfortunately, I was intoxicated at the time.
What were you doing driving then?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what it was. We were on a job out there, right, and we were chasing somebody around. And we'd been working all day, and then we hadn't found this person. And then we went into this sort of bar,
Bodega.
Yeah, bodega or something. Yeah.
Bodega.
Bodega's not Spanish.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Bodega is a Spanish word.
No, it's not. Bodega is a Scandinavian word.
Rubbish.
It's a Viking word. It's
Rubbish.
A Viking word. It is. It's a Viking word, honestly.
Really? Well, last time I was in the Bronx, and I went into a bodega, there weren't any Vikings in there.
It is Viking, honestly. But, there wouldn't be any Vikings in there because there aren't any Vikings, right? We don't have any Vikings anymore.
Well, you have descendants of Vikings.
You idiot. Anyway,
have you seen the time, by the way?
The point is...
We've got to do some cricket in a minute.
Point is...
Go on, what is the point?
Suddenly the quarry was spotted, and he was like 100 yards away or something like that, and we had to dash after him.
Right.
And I admit I had to jump in the car because it had all the camera equipment in it, which we would need to chase him and take a picture of him, obviously. And I turned round and I went and I got stopped by a cop. Who said in Spanish, you're going down a one-way street the wrong way. And I said...
How did you know that was what he was saying?
Well, it's obvious, because he's pointing to signs with arrows on and all that kind of stuff, And I just kept saying, pardone, which I think...
It's not Spanish at all.
Well, no, but I mean, it's an understandable international word, isn't it? Pardone,
Right.
Mucho... No, honestly, I did.
Mucho bladdered.
No. I said, pardone, mucho regretto. No, I did, because I wanted to appear to be, like I was an Englishman. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Pardone, mucho regretto. And it worked, because it's not a problem. Just thought I was quite a nice guy.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. And, of course, Mr. Mike Porky Parry and I will be here 4 nights a week now instead of 2. So there'll be 4 podcasts coming out, and that should be very, very exciting.
Give it a 4, man.
Give it a 4?
Yeah, what I mean is, instead of a high 5...
4 out of 10. It's like your quiz answers.
No, give me a high 4.
I'm not going to give you a high 4,
Why not?
because the way you're holding your thumb would mean that you might dislocate your thumb.
All right, give me a high 4.
All right, I'll give you a high 4,
right,
metaphorically speaking.
There you go.
Now, before we talk about sheepskin coats, which is something else that has been brought to your attention, here's a few other things that you would do, OK? Now, you don't have to tell me a huge story on each one of them. Put on an item of clothing inside out. Not followed instructions.
That's utter rubbish.
Sent a text message to the wrong person. I bet you've done that.
Oh, my God. I've told you what happened, haven't I?
No.
What happened was I was invited to a very prestigious dinner. And it was by a person who was very big in the sporting world.
Oh, yeah.
And
one of these big dinners, hotel-type things.
It was at the Grosvenor House in Park Lane. And I'd been the previous year, and I'd found it intensely boring. So I wasn't sure I wanted to go.
Right.
So what happened was the invitation came in to a member of the staff here at Talk Sport.
Yeah.
And she then sent it on to me. And it had come from this huge person's PA.
Oh, yeah.
So huge person PA sends email invitation to person at Talk Sport who sends it on to me.
Right.
I then send it back to person at Talk Sport saying, oh, I dreaded this invitation coming in.
And you did reply all, didn't you?
Well, I said, I dreaded this invitation coming in. I went last year. It was so boring. I said, it was so boring. I said, I left after the main course and went with a few of the boys down to the Dorchester champagne bar. I stayed there till 2 in the morning. I said, I was falling asleep. It was the worst dinner I've ever been to. And I sent it back to...
That's awful, isn't it?
I sent it back to the PA, to the big person. It was, and the PA to the big person then sent me a note saying, Mr. So-and-so says he'll take that as a no, thank you.
Oh, God.
I know, it was shocking.
And presumably that big sports personality person has never darkened your door again with any other invitations.
He forgave me.
Did he?
He forgave me.
Really?
And the reason for it was that a set of circumstances ensued in which I was able to help him out with certain things, and it was okay. Uh-huh. But it's not good, and it's not right, and it was wrong of me. But I've done it. Yeah. Go on,
we've all done it. Just before you go on to the next one, Ali has sent in a tweet. At the two mics. Couple of points he wants to make. Porky, you plonker. Bodega origin is a Spanish Latin word.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's Viking.
I've just had it checked from the guys behind the screen.
Well, how come half the bars in the northeast of England, Newcastle and Durham and all that, are called the Bodega?
I've no idea.
It's because the Vikings invaded that part of the
coast. It's a Spanish word, the origin of which means apothecary.
I don't believe
that. She also says, Porky singing ZZ Top, he loves eggs, he loves eggs. Maybe you could change the words instead of she's got legs.
I see, yeah. Well, that's quite original.
That's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
Now,
Thank you.
Number 17 on this list, sent an email to the wrong person. You've just done that one.
Yeah.
Hit the alarm off button instead of the snooze button.
No.
I've done that.
I haven't.
I did that. I missed a show once because I just had a new phone and I thought the alarm's going to wake me up. And the next thing I knew, I'd slept not only through the alarm, but I'd obviously hit the button and instead of making it snooze, it just got off altogether.
On my latest phone, I've got a Samsung thing. And it's not the phone's fault, it's mine. I just cannot make the alarm work.
Really? Well, you can't make anything work on that.
No, I can't. I'm very poor at that, actually. Very poor at the technology. When I get in here in Talk Sport, I can't even make the tweets and things work.
No, I know.
No,
that doesn't surprise me. Here's two that I'm sure you will have made a mistake
Right, go on.
Lied in a job interview and lied on your CV.
I've never lied in either. Never lied in...
I don't find that very hard to believe.
No, look, I tell you what, job interviews, right... Until I was about 40, I never had to go for a job interview.
Rubbish.
No.
That's not true.
Was so good. I was so good.
You told me before that you went for a job interview. Was either in Birmingham or Chester, and you thought that you didn't get it.
Yeah.
But then you did get it.
Yeah, that's right. That was
a job
at the Express. No, but what I'm saying is I was invited to that.
Yeah.
I rose so fast up the newspaper greasy pole, right, that I was in huge demand. And so... No.
You really believe all this rubbish,
Yeah. And although that was a quotes interview, what it really was I was invited up there because I had established such a reputation as a hotshot reporter, fearless hotshot reporter, who went to places other people wouldn't go, like Crossmaglen in Northern Ireland, which was the terrorist capital of Europe. I didn't care. I drove into Crossmaglen, I heard the ping, and I thought, what's that? And do you know what it was?
What was it? Somebody shooting at you?
No, it was worse. The ping was, in fact, a cable stretched across the road, designed to trigger a bomb to blow up an army vehicle.
Right.
I drove straight through it in a Ford Escort. The wire pinged and split.
Yeah.
But no bomb blew up. And do you know why?
Why?
Because the special services had found out about this
and
this
they'd already de-armed it.
They de-armed it. That's right.
Even.
But they were hanging around. So, and I ruined I actually ruined the whole mission.
The whole undercover mission
was
blown
I ruined
by
the whole,
you.
Yeah.
No, well done.
Because what was supposed to happen was...
Congratulations.
There was an army vehicle due to come, right? And it was going to ping the wire, and blow the army vehicle up. But the special services, you're quite right, had disarmed the bomb and were hiding in the hedgerows.
Right.
waiting for the perpetrators of the plot to come out and themselves try and find out why the bomb didn't blow up. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because these guys who place these bombs always stick around to see the result of their handiwork, you know? And the road was closed, you see. Because
so how did you end up driving down it then?
I just ignored the road closed sign.
So you just don't pay any attention to signs?
No, not whatsoever.
One-way street.
I left Dundalk and I was travelling north, right, and I was determined to go across McGlen because nobody I knew had ever been there, and it literally was, you know, the terrorist capital of Europe in those days. It was where eventually that very brave captain, Robert Nyrak, was kidnapped and disappeared. Nobody ever found out what happened to him. He was allegedly fed to the pigs, you know. But he was an undercover army officer and all that kind of stuff.
So did these guys stop you then when this happened?
Yeah. Within a few yards, there were men brandishing rifles, standing in the middle of the road, pointing at me and telling me if I didn't stop my car, they'd shoot me.
Oh, well, was that the army guys or the bad guys?
No, that was the army guys.
Oh, okay.
That was the good guys.
Right.
That was the good guys, yeah.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Because, talking of lying on CVs and things, you see that story, the other Coronation Street story which is around today, about Katie Redford, who's been sacked by Coronation Street
for claiming she was too
about
young.
Age. Well, she claimed she was 19. It turns out she's 25.
Yeah, but she must have been a good actress if she could pass herself off as 19 and they accepted it.
I don't think so. I mean, if you're a woman, a young woman, quite often it's hard to tell what age they are between about 19
So what's
and
that,
25.
lying on a CV?
Well, that would be lying on a CV.
I would never do that.
I bet you would.
No, I wouldn't. Once you found...
I find that extraordinary.
Do you know what? I don't think I've ever submitted a CV to anybody anyway, have you?
Yeah, of course I have.
No. Why would you do that?
Because they ask you for it.
I'm too good to produce CVs. People know me by reputation. They know what I've done. I have a reputation to defend and to express and all that. I wouldn't dream. It's like when people ask me for a business card. You haven't got any business cards, have you?
I haven't got any, no.
Neither have I.
No, I mean, last time I had a
card.
business card was when I was programme director of that station in Scotland.
I didn't even have one when I was programme director here.
No. Well, you weren't here for long enough, I suppose.
Only 5 years.
I actually used to have a bit of a superstition.
Yeah.
When I worked at the Express,
Yeah.
because they were always moving me around and I had different jobs, I always knew when the business cards arrived, that job was going to soon come to an end and they'd move me on.
But,
I became features editor, and just about as the cards arrived about a week later, they made me something else. But, as I got those cards done, they made me something else.
The business cards, if people don't know who I am and what I do, they don't need to know me anyway. And if they do know me and they say, Mike, can I get in touch? I say...
but if for example...
I just ring their mobile phone.
No, but if, for example, you were being touted as laughable as it is, for some massively top job, say, for example, in FIFA, right? And David Ginola, who I'm sure you've spoken to since last week about his impending sort of bid to become the president.
Yes.
If, say, for example, he said, I would like to hire... He was successful. I would like to hire Mike Parry as the head of communications at FIFA. You would have to send him a CV because they wouldn't know you by reputation. And you would have to be up against a lot of other candidates, and so you'd have to go through the motions.
I wouldn't go back into that field.
But I'm saying you would. At that point, you would have to.
I would like to spend the rest of my career in the broadcasting field, the communications field, the entertainment field, right? And within those fields, I feel that I'm well known enough to those who run the industry. Not to have to turn up with a CV and say, here, look, my name's Parry. Right. When I was 19, I was a hotshot reporter on the Chester Chronicle. I became news editor of the Daily Express by the time I was 27.
I must say, there is a certain sort of wry smile that crosses my lips whenever we get CVs that we're sent in from especially young kids who are coming in to be interns. And they put all the things that they've done down. Right, and it's about 3 pages of it, including, shelf stacker at Tesco.
That's right, yeah.
And you go, well, I don't know why you put that down.
Well, if anybody ever sent me a CV when I was the hire and fire around here, I used to put it in the bin.
Did you?
CVs are just rubbish. I mean, somebody's got to kick my door down and get in and see me and impress me with the force of their personality, the strength of their character, their will to win.
Yes.
And sometimes I would even reinforce that door to see if they could kick it down again. You see what I mean? To see how determined they really are. And if a foot came through the door, I thought this is the sort of person we should have working for us.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Did you hire anyone on that basis?
Yeah. I had a few people on that basis who were persistent enough to get there in the end. I mean, I didn't pay him, of course.
Of course not.
I just gave him the opportunity to come and work in the greatness and the glow of Talk Sport. But I mean, look, I'm being a bit trite here. Of course, we paid them, but they started on minimal wages and grew. And in fact, there's a lot of people here today who start on that very basis, as you should in any industry, who have top positions here, and that's the way it should be.
Absolutely right. Now, we were going to talk about sheepskin coats there, but we haven't had time. You've run out of time, as usual.
We're going to talk about what?
We're going to talk about sheepskin coats. We'll have to do that coming up in a little while, because coming up next, it's time for winners and losers.
Excellent.
This is TalkSport Extra Time, and it is that time of the week when Mr. Mike Parry pits his considerable brain against the man sitting to his right. And it's not Toby Gillies this week, you'll be pleased to know, who has never won this, unfortunately.
And seems to be suffering a few mental, troubles as a result of it.
He's feeling very hard done by. Ben Fletcher's here. Ben, very good morning to you.
Morning,
Toby is convinced that somehow it's a fix and that he can never win it against Mike Parry because I'm so much in awe of Mike Parry that I always let him win, which, as anyone knows, is a complete a crock of nonsense. But since you are the guest, we should let you go first with your 3 losers of the week. And basically the way it works now is you go up against him and I decide who's going to win it overall.
Okay. I suspect we may have 1 or 2 similar candidates for this, but I'll start
I wouldn't be too sure. He's usually a bit off the
wall. we shall see. First of all, first loser, Manchester City. A real own goal, losing 2-0 at home to Arsenal. An incredible result, really. And it's given Chelsea...
You're just going to make that noise all the way through.
Well,
He's trying to put me off already. The psychological gamesmanship started already.
I just like the audience to know what I think of your efforts.
That's good to know. So Manchester City, to lose to a side like Arsenal, I think is absolutely pathetic. And that takes me on to my second loser, which is the Arsenal fans who celebrated that win like they've won the league, like everything's okay, like Arsene Wenger's all of a sudden the greatest coach in history, like this is the professor. This is the professor at work.
He's back.
He's not back. He's so many light years behind the likes of Jose Mourinho and even Manuel Pellegrini.
Who he still hasn't ever beaten.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever will, by the way, but that's another story. Yeah. So the Arsenal fans who are celebrating this win, like it means they're back in the title race, like it means... the best that Arsenal can hope for is a top 4 finish, and I still don't think that's a cast iron guarantee.
OK. And finally?
Third and final loser is Everton. Football club.
Controversial.
I like that. That's nice, isn't it?
Controversial, given the...
Coming here and try and wind me up, by saying Everton. You knew that would happen, didn't you?
Given the man sat to my left, I thought that might be a controversial one. First of all, are they a football club or a film studio?
It's a good one, that,
I think at a time when they should be winning games, they should be concentrating more on what happens on the pitch than inviting celebrities and film directors onto it. So I thought that was a very, very strange state of affairs last night. And the second reason is that, to West Brom, yes, they're very, very tight defensively now under Tony Pulis, but this was a real opportunity for them to get another 3 points between them and the relegation zone. They failed, they were booed off the pitch, and I'd use this term very lightly, but they are a crisis club.
Well, strong words indeed, Mr. Parry.
Rubbish.
Who are your 3 losers of the week? Have you got any better ones than Everton? Because I like that
Certainly
one.
not Everton. They're not a crisis club, and it's drivel. Right, my 3 losers.
Yes.
First of all, Kevin Peterson.
Yeah.
Mega loser.
He's in every week for you.
Mega loser.
He was in last week.
But every week he does something more extraordinary to try and bring himself to the attention
what's
of
he
the
done
England
this week,
selectors. Well, you know what he's done this week? First of all, he told us all, sort of conspiratorially, that Jan Morgan...
Jan?
Yeah.
He's North Korean now, is he?
Yeah,
I thought he was Irish.
The New England one-day captain, right, wants him in the team.
Yeah.
And 24 hours later, Mr. Morgan said, I'm very happy with the squad I've got, i.e., no, I don't.
Right.
And then, extraordinarily, he gets on a tattooist's bed even, and for the next 6 hours has this world map tattooed around his body with little red stars showing, there I scored a century, there I scored a century, and it was nothing to do with a kind of a keepsake of my career. It was another, look at the England selectors, look at me, look what I've scored all the centuries.
Yeah. Well, we had this conversation last week. There are more countries in the world where they don't play cricket than they do, so what a waste of ink, really.
Well, exactly, so he's my first one. The second one are the Leeds fans. They are now stateless, leaderless and rootless again because the man who owns the club has been told to push off for 3 months.
That's right.
He can't be allowed to...
He says he feels like a guest at a party at which he is not welcome.
He's not welcome.
You must be familiar with that feeling.
Well, I've seen you at a few parties where you definitely haven't been welcome.
I wouldn't say so.
Because of your drunken behaviour.
Not true.
And your ability to, you even admitted to it earlier. What you do when you go to parties, you get bladdered and then you start pestering women to have sex with them that night.
Not true.
Yes, you do.
Absolute rubbish.
Yes, you do.
No,
you
not
admitted
true.
it earlier, didn't you? Admit it earlier.
I've never pestered a woman in my life.
You said you went to the Times story, the Times party, and you refused to lift down from the editor because you hadn't run a grope a woman in the party.
That's not exactly what I said, actually.
Well, it's exactly what happened, isn't it?
No.
Right,
am I quite willing?
My third loser. This is a great one. This,
go on.
BBC, because it looks like they're going to lose the Open Golf,
really,
to a subscription channel.
Blimey.
Yes.
I thought it was one of those protected species.
It's not after 2016.
Isn't it?
No, the old golden whatever it is.
Well, that's
circle.
worse than the BBC losing. It's all of us losing it, really, isn't it? Because, we should watch it for free.
Hang on, there are some organisations which produce sport better than the BBC.
Yeah, there are.
And if they, by the way, the old...
but the so-called Crown Jewels, which is what the Open is meant to be one of, like the Grand National, and what used to be the FA Cup final.
It's got to expire. Why do you put this false barrier of protection around the BBC? They've got to go into the open marketplace. And if Sky or somebody wants to bid more for the golf have got to take that money.
Well, but the reason why it's a crown jewel is because it's supposed to be free to air for people so they can watch it. Well, it's an iconic tournament.
That is such a medieval concept. No, free to air. Yeah, medieval free to air.
They didn't have television in medieval times.
Well, they didn't used to charge people to go and see Shakespeare, you know.
Yeah, so
didn't charge anybody. That was free to air.
Yeah, but they didn't have Sky then either, did they?
That was free to air theatre. You could go in and.
We didn't have television either.
No, but they had entertainment. That's what it was. It was entertainment.
Yeah.
Don't you understand the difference?
William the Conqueror, the first thing he did after he won the Battle of Hastings, he said, "Right, I'm now going to make sure that every entertainment in this country is going to be paid for TV." Isn't it? That's what he said.
You've been stupid now. All I'm saying is the medieval equivalent of the BBC, free to air, and all that.
Equivalent of the BBC.
Shakespeare's Theatre, the Globe.
The British
we walked past it the other night on the way to a party you couldn't find the direction of.
That was Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
A long time ago.
Yeah, that's close.
Well, those. I mean, other than your ridiculous explanation of medieval, I would have quite happily gone for the BBC. But instead, I'm going to give it to Ben for Everton as the big losers of the week.
Oh, thank you.
Because I think he's hit the nail on the head. Now let's hear the winners.
That's anti-Porky bias.
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's no lie. That's no lie. You never fail to satisfy.
Now, so you don't turn into the Toby Gillies of the hour, we'll let Mr. Parry start off with the winners. Your three winners, please.
Okay. First one is Sir Jack Hayward.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, he's dead. But
how does that make him a winner?
Well, because a few days after he died, in tribute to the contribution he'd made to football in the Midlands, and in particular in the Black Country, the West Brom fans at Everton last night took a banner commemorating him and saying the Black Country unites in grief.
Uh-huh.
Because, of course, he kept Wolves solvent.
He did.
He was a working class boy, grew up, made a huge fortune, and then supported Wolves for years. And I think for a set of fans from another club to actually take a banner praising you to an away ground has to make you an ultimate winner.
OK, all right. Not bad.
Second one is Thierry Henry. I thought he was excellent. Thierry Henry, right, who I thought was excellent in his first
nobody agreed with you on that, did they, on Twitter?
Well, whether you agree with me or not, it was also the first job in a contract paying him £3.5 million a year.
Yes.
He's getting almost footballers' wages to be a pundit. That's got to be
That's how much money Sky have got.
That's got to be a winner, 70 grand a week for a bit of punditry. And the third one, because it starts tomorrow night, Wolf Hall, Henry VIII.
Yeah.
His whole reputation is now going to be restored. And remember, Henry VIII founded the school I went to, the King's School Chester.
Actually, he didn't.
Gave me the education.
Actually, he didn't. It was
pointed out to me on the path to glory.
It was actually pointed out to me that he couldn't have founded the King's School Chester.
He did.
Because actually, it was founded before he was the king.
No, rubbish.
It's not rubbish.
It's rubbish.
It's not.
It founded
Why
my
are you
school.
hesitating? No,
Why do you think it's called the King's School?
Well, there was plenty of kings before Henry, plenty of kings after Henry.
No, rubbish. King Henry VIII founded my school.
Would you like me to find the absolute definitive description of who founded King's School Chester?
It was Henry VIII.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
Well,
You're a fool and you know nothing.
I might be tempted to give you that just because I've now got a Henry VIII mask.
It was in the cloisters of the cathedral, Chester Cathedral. And guess what? To the day that I was at the school, the two junior classes were called the cloisters.
What's that got to do with Henry VIII?
Well, because Didn't
he destroy more churches than any other king?
Yeah, but they were Catholic churches. He didn't like them, so he wanted to build his own churches. So he built Chester Cathedral, put the King's School Chester in the basement of the cathedral.
Really?
See?
All right. Well, we'll have a look at that while we're listening to Ben's three suggestions for winners.
Yeah, these will be rubbish. These will.
It's like a history lesson doing the show. It's absolutely amazing.
These will be rubbish. This.
Well, my first win is Andy Carroll. Since he's come back from injury, he scored in the win over Hull at the weekend, the 3-0 win over Hull, which was, of course, live on TalkSport. And I was really pleased to see that he's come back. Everyone said he was finished. He's not. He's fired West Ham. He's got a couple of goals. He's moved them up the table. And the Hammers look, whilst mathematically it looks like they could close in on a top 4 spot. I don't think they will, but they could certainly aim for a Europa League position this season. And I just think that he's proved his doubters wrong, and he's hit a bit of a vein of form. So fair play to him.
I think that's not a bad shout.
That's winner number 1.
Oh, really?
Winner number 2.
Well, I'm the judge, so whether you like it or not, you know, keep your back chat going. You'll get minus points.
You couldn't judge a baking competition.
Not if you were in it.
Yeah.
Half bake.
Very good.
Harry Redknapp is my.
That was very nice. Thank you for that was support there from a colleague.
Well spotted. Harry Redknapp is my winner number 2 because he's been given a little bit longer at Queen's Park Rangers.
With the deadly vote of confidence from the chairman.
I don't think he'll get sacked. I think Tony Fernandes has given him a little bit longer. I think Harry will turn it round. I think Harry Redknapp's been hard done by in his career. He should never, ever have been sacked as Spurs boss.
Totally agree.
When he left Spurs, because he did the job he was supposed to do. He finished in the top 4. It wasn't his fault that Chelsea won the Champions League. There's talk that he should have finished above Arsenal, but he didn't, and that was one of the reasons why things didn't work out. But pleased to see he's been given a chance. I do believe we'll turn it around. He's a great character. People hate it when we say that, but he's a great character in the Premier League, and I'm pleased to see a British manager not lose his job. My number 1 winner is not a British manager, but it's a British-minded manager, the Portuguese Jose Mourinho. Chelsea boss, 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League, laughing all the way to the bank after Manchester City lost the game to Arsenal 2-0.
Hard to argue with that, really.
Yeah, they're all too obvious.
They are obvious, but they're all better than all of yours.
No, they're all too obvious.
They're all better than all of yours. Jose Mourinho,
no originality.
Jose Mourinho, for me, is a massive winner. What I would have liked to see from either one of you
no instinct.
Was the James Blunt story. I don't know if you saw that earlier on.
Of course I've seen it.
Where he had a go at Chris Bride.
Yeah.
And I think he was one of the great winners. So, in a way, I don't think either one of you have come up with a decent winner, actually. So,
you don't think that Jack Haywood's decent?
I'm going to give you no points. So, what I'm going to do is declare Ben to be the winner because he won loser, so he got 1 point and you got no points at all. So for the first time since we've started doing this, you've actually lost. This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. There is a podcast coming out, and there will be 4 podcasts this week, of course, because Mr. Parry, I'm delighted to say, is here 4 nights a week now from now on here at TalkSport. Very exciting. I hope you're going to get enough sleep, by the way.
Yeah, I will.
And I wonder whether you paid any attention to a new report that came out yesterday in which it said that a glass of wine a day is good for you. They've been saying that for a long time, haven't they?
Yeah, but hang on.
Anything in moderation is a good idea.
That's come out today, because I tried to point this out to you before you so rudely interrupted me earlier.
No, I didn't.
Did I say to you, is the Times one of the most famous papers in the world?
Yes.
You then told me this rambling story about, you're going to the Times party and
Oh, sorry, were you supposed to be telling me some different story?
Yeah.
I didn't realise.
Yeah, honestly, you're the moral compass of an alley rat.
An alley rat?
No, what was I going to say?
An alley cat,
Alley cat, that's right. Now, you see what it says on the front of the Times: daily drink cuts risk of middle-aged heart failure. A glass of wine or bottle of beer a day in middle age dramatically cuts the risk of heart failure, a study of thousands of drinkers suggests.
You know, I was watching a programme the other day. It was one of these food programmes. They were in search of, the Italian way of life and how people in Mediterranean countries are much more healthy.
Tomatoes and all that.
Well, tomatoes, olive oil, that kind of thing, not so much cholesterol.
Yeah.
And they interviewed, there was a lovely old couple who had lived very, very long and they said, what we have is we have 2 glasses of red wine with lunch, nothing in the evening. And I thought to myself, you can't imagine anyone in this country ever saying that, can you? A couple of glasses of wine at lunch, nothing in the evening. Yeah,
there is obviously what we call the taste. When you start drinking, you like to drink more.
When you say we, what, you mean alcoholics?
Well, I know social drinkers.
Actually, now I find that if it's during the week and I'm working, if I do go out for lunch, yes, I'll have a couple of glasses of wine, but I won't have anything in the evening.
Yeah. Of course you won't, because you're coming here.
Yeah.
But I don't drink wine during the week anyway. If I have a drink during the day, I'll just have a couple of beers.
Yeah, well, you don't drink if you're working, probably, but if you're not working, you would probably have a drink, wouldn't you?
No, I don't.
You spend half your life in pubs.
No.
You're either inspecting them to find out whether they've got any soap.
Yeah, that's right.
Or you're entering some kind of meat raffle.
No.
Seems to be all you ever do. Somebody actually said we should give you a quiz on the Stockbroker Belt Surrey pubs, because you seem to be in an awful lot of them.
The meat went to the family.
Oh, the shoulder of lamb, yeah.
Shoulder of lamb.
Has it been cooked yet?
It was cooked yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Any good?
It was fantastic. The reports come back. In fact, they've only eaten half of it, and there was 4 of them. It was.
Well, that's a big shoulder.
My sister and brother-in-law.
Giant sheep.
And they invited a couple over for dinner.
And where were you then?
I was on the coast, and she lives in Surrey.
Ah.
And
so you missed out then?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I didn't really mind about that. And they had a lot of it, and there's a lot left. They said there's enough for another banquet, so that's good. Anyway, look, this goes on to say men who drank up to 7 alcoholic drinks a week had a 20% lower risk of heart failure than teetotalers. For women, the risk was 16% lower, according to analysis in the European Heart Journal.
Some of these surveys, you have to say, though, I mean, how can they possibly know? I mean, it's all about projection. It's all about probability.
My father was killed because he took up drinking late in life.
But he had the same heart defect that you've got.
Absolutely.
So it was that rather than the drink, presumably.
Yes, it was. But what I'm trying to say to you is, after the Second World War, when he was demobbed and all that, met my mother, brought up 3 children, he didn't have a drink for 20 years.
Really?
No, he decided that, the life he'd led in the Royal Navy was not necessarily a good one, not for domestic life. So he gave it up. Now, when we all then went off to university and whatever, right, I went to the University of Trent, obviously.
Funnily enough, this has been pointed out by Graham, the professor in Mexico. Yeah. He said, which was you mentioned earlier, Parry hasn't lied, ! University of Trent, ! Say no more.
Well, the University of Trent exists. It
does now, but it wasn't called that when you went there.
It's a physical entity.
It wasn't called that when you went there.
It's called the University of Trent. That's where I went for my higher education. Now,
and it wasn't called that.
The point of the story is, we all left the home, and my dad had more time in his hands, so he'd go for a stroll on a Saturday night, and walk down to the pub.
Down to the local?
Yeah, down the local, literally. 2 pints.
You see, a lot of people did that in those days because the local was a place where you met your friends.
That's right, absolutely.
You might have gone down on your own, but there'd be half a dozen guys there that you would have a drink with.
Absolutely.
It wasn't at all now what pubs are like, was it?
That's exactly what he did. It was a 15-minute walk down into sort of the village, so to speak, you know what I mean? Because we lived on the edge of Chester.
Right.
And that's exactly what he did. And then 2 pints turned to 3 pints, and then maybe he was going twice a week, but it wasn't excessive or anything like that. But because his heart was suddenly being attacked by alcohol for the first time in 20 years, it triggered
encephalopathy.
What have I got? I've forgotten what I've got now.
What have you got?
Dilated cardiomyopathy.
Myopathy,
right?
There you go.
Yeah. And it triggered it, and nobody knew.
So you think if he hadn't been drinking, it might not have happened then?
It wouldn't have happened.
Really?
The doctors have told me that. No. And
did drinking trigger yours then?
Yes, it did.
Really?
After a period of about 25 years. Yeah. For my dad, it happened after 25 days because his heart had not been.
Well, didn't you know that was a possibility then?
No, because we didn't know what my dad died of.
So when did you not find that out until after you got ill? Then?
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
Dilated cardiomyopathy did not exist in my dad's day.
Right.
My dad died before the first ever heart transplant operation took place in this country.
Right.
That's how far into the dark ages we were with heart technology.
So it did exist, they just didn't know what it was.
Exactly. And my father had, a horrible last 6 or 7 months because he had all the symptoms that I was telling you about, having to sit up to go to sleep, not being able to lie down, feeling you were drowning in your own fluids, constant shortage of breath and all that kind of stuff. But they just never diagnosed it. They just didn't know what was wrong with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sad.
Put on excessive weight and all that. It was horrible last few months, and then he died. So I, like you, the reason I'm telling that story is not because I want to get the violins out. I want to point out that it's very hard for me to accept that alcohol can improve your heart when it so badly damaged my dad's heart and has damaged mine.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't want any sympathy. That was self-inflicted.
I don't think you're going to get any.
No, exactly. You and I were very heavy social drinkers for years in Fleet Street, right? So if you've got a weakness in your body, eventually it'll find it. Bang, it did with me. No problem at all. But, this idea now that, a couple of drinks a day helps you out, I don't know about that.
Well, the thing is, it's not the first time we've seen this particular piece of advice.
Yeah.
And, 1 glass of red wine's good for you. But, who can only have 1 glass of red wine? That's the point.
Yeah.
But let's move on to something else, which is also apparently a wonder food. Beetroot.
Beetroot.
It says is a wonder food.
Right, my fridge is now full of it.
Is it?
Full of beetroot.
What sort of beetroot?
Red beetroot. It's the... well, you know exactly I'm...
No, I don't mean that. I mean...
What other sort of beetroot is there?
Well, you can get beetroot in a jar. You can get pickled beetroot. You can get fresh beetroot, which you then cook.
Right.
There are different colours of beetroot.
This is fresh beetroot.
Okay.
In what's her name?
Therma.
Packed. Thermoplastic.
Oh, you mean it's like vacuum packed?
Vacuum packed. It's fresh beetroot, vacuum packed.
I've seen that.
Yeah, that's right.
It's cooked already, isn't
Big containers, cooked already.
Yeah, so you can just slice it.
You just slice it. And my fridge is full of it since I found out it was good.
I'll tell you what, I discovered a bit of a sort of... I'm quite a big fan of beetroot, but you don't always eat it. I quite like beetroot salad. But when we were away in the summer in Turkey, and we had this big kind of, the place full of Russians where you could go and have this buffet. And one of the things they had was that little cubes of beetroot.
Cubes of beetroot, yeah.
And I found myself having them every day.
Yeah, and the vinegar is very appealing.
Because you get yourself into it.
Well,
since I've been back, I haven't had any.
I eat beetroot with tomatoes,
Of course you do.
With, hang on, I'm just trying to think what else
do you make it into like a salad?
Of course I do.
You cube it then, cut it up into small cubes.
Small cubes.
Yeah.
Tomato, ham.
Yeah.
Tomato, ham. Bit of
Sounds
cheese.
Delightful.
Bit of cheese.
All in the same bowl?
On a plate.
Oh, right. I thought you were talking about making like a beetroot salad with cheese and ham and tomato. Sounds horrendous.
No.
That sounds awful.
No, it's brilliant. Ham and tomato and beetroot and a bit of cheese and something else I have with it. Boiled potatoes, I think. Small boiled potatoes, yeah.
Well, that's your dinner, is it?
Yeah, it can be.
Blimey.
But I'm determined to eat beetroot every day now.
Are you?
Yeah. Love it, honestly. It's brilliant. I like
you. I mean, I guess the trouble is that unless you're just having it as a little side thing, you can't really mainline beetroot, can you? I mean, you can't do much with it.
Well, you can. You can eat it with lots of things.
Like what? Yeah, but what can you do with it? You can't really cook with it
Sardines.
Much, beetroot. Well, you can put loads of things with it. Yeah, but it always tastes like beetroot.
Do you see that,
it's not like a cooking
see that strange story of a bloke who is either given up or is eating double the number of crisp sandwiches a day?
Who?
Some guy.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is he trying to break a record or something?
I don't know. He apparently got some great nutritional value. Now, what I was about to say to you was...
Wait a second. What, are you just going to move on now? Who's the guy? Why is he eating crisp sandwiches?
I don't know.
I've never eaten a crisp sandwich in my life.
Oh, I like crisp sandwiches.
Yeah,
I love crisp sandwiches. You don't eat crisp sandwiches as a kid?
No.
Do you know what we used to have as sandwiches as a kid? Crisp, right, which was lovely. That was great.
Sugar sandwich is the worst thing you can eat.
Sugar sandwiches.
Sugar
sandwiches.
You're joking?
No, sugar sandwiches are fantastic.
Just 2 bits of bread and sugar?
2 bits of bread with butter on, and then you just tip sugar all over them.
No wonder you've got such a sweet tooth.
No. And the other one...
you had a heart attack.
Eh?
It's no wonder you had a heart attack.
No, I've never had a heart attack. Never dilated cardiomyopathy.
No, whatever.
And the other one we used to have was apple. Used to love apple sandwiches.
Apple sandwiches?
Yeah, apple sandwiches, honestly, yeah.
That's very
And sometimes...
What, just sliced apple?
Yeah, just sliced apple. Sometimes...
I have banana sandwiches.
Yeah, I love banana sandwiches. Yeah. But we'd have apple and sugar sandwiches. Because when I have a banana sandwich, I have a banana and sugar sandwich.
You shouldn't eat so much sugar.
It's fantastic. I love it. Honestly, it's good. It's good. Better than eating chocolate because that rots your teeth.
Yeah, but you eat that as well.
Well, I tried to keep off it.
Actually, I've got a confession to make. I was up a bit late last night and I found a packet of Maltesers.
Oh, yeah.
Like a big packet of Maltesers.
Where'd you find them?
In the cupboard. And,
how long have they been there?
Well, I think since Christmas. You
should keep them in the fridge. You should keep all chocolate in the fridge.
Yeah, well, they were in the cupboard.
Yeah. So they might have gone mouldy.
No, they were fine. No, they last for ages. Yeah. I ate the whole lot of them anyway.
Yeah, well, I've done that. I find them very Moorish.
Yeah.
And when you get a box, I love the way they rattle, don't you?
No.
Do you know what? I use my Maltesers like a pair of maracas. I like to shake them about, honestly. And before I eat them,
maybe you can bring them to Stars in Your Eyes.
No,
and you can do a bit of percussion alongside the old swirling guitar.
Before I eat them, put myself in a good mood. I give it a kind of Braziliana beans means a lot of coffee.
And do this on your own, do you?
Yeah,
in the middle of the living room.
I do. But
did anybody see into your flat?
No.
No wonder they've objected to your bloody roof garden being expanded.
But they make exactly the same sound as maracas.
Yeah,
they do.
You make exactly the same sound as a lunatic.
That's a bit unkind.
That was the Two Mics podcast.
Yes, it certainly was. Don't forget, it's out every Tuesday and every Friday morning on iTunes.
And you can follow us at the Two Mics.
So keep listening for more of MG's loose morals. Believe me, this boy hasn't got a moral fibre in his body.
And more of his bizarre buffoonery.
What?